Hello and welcome to episode 559 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and joining me as always is the artist and creator of Vanguard, the epic webcomic that's returning in 2026. It's Dan Butcher.
Hello.
I'm going to keep saying that until Vanguard returns in 2026.
We'll return this year, that's a fact.
Yeah, and we cannot wait for it. And a man who challenges himself in every way possible. He challenges the very fabric of reality.
Challenge Annika.
And he is he's our challenge Annika, but we call him Tony Esmond.
Hello.
Hello.
That was a good interview. I'm pleased with the interview we've got coming up.
Yes. I mean, I would say no spoilers, but it'll be in the title of the episode. We talked to Jesse Lonergan, a creator who some of you lovely listeners have probably read many of his works, and some of you may be just discovering his works. And after this, you'll definitely be reading the books, because it's a fascinating and fantastic interview with Jesse that we have just had. But now we're doing the front and back end of the show.
Easy.
And Dan, I love some. No one will ever see this, right? You lovely audio listeners, but. You know, we record on Zoom. We have cameras so we can wave at each other, blow kisses. Sometimes show comics that we're sort of
talking about with Jesse Lonergan.
Were you going to say something else then?
Yeah, talking about. And sometimes I just occasionally like to glance at my lovely host to see what they're doing at any point in time. And sometimes Dan looks so focused. He's a creature of absolute focus, Dan Butcher.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And will.
They're just absolute willpower.
In fact, earlier he was looking under a bed for his cat.
Yep,
mate. I just heard this noise of like the carpet being eviscerated. I was like, what the fuck is she doing?
Yeah,
and I had to lift the bed up to have a look.
Yeah, if you've got any kind of carpet, it's essentially just a scratching post on a floor.
Yeah.
Forget about that pile. But sometimes we have piles of comics to read.
Empires.
Well, that's a different podcast that you need to be listening to for that.
Farmer Giles.
Yeah, but you know, Tony is always, whenever you travel anywhere, you look for comic book shops, don't you? As many of us do.
Yeah, you got to do it, haven't you? So it's made a lot easier now. Do you remember that? I don't even.
Is it made a lot easier now? Because sometimes I always look for the stores if I'm on holiday, like in the area.
Yeah.
But Google Maps, like a Google Maps or anything like that, it seems like it's close, but they're still quite hard to actually find. Do you ever find that? I walk streets away from a store.
Walk
really
past them sometimes.
Yeah.
The worst one is if you go somewhere and you look it up and go, there's a comic store down there, and you look it up and it's like shut. You're like, or
it doesn't open until 6 p.m. or something.
Yeah. Or it's closed on the day that you've gone.
One day.
One day.
Well, me and Cliff had that when we went to St Austell, and fortunately on the Google thing, you know, it's got the website, the phone number.
Yeah.
There was a phone number, so I pressed it and said, "Oh, are you opening today?" And the lady very nicely said, "Oh, you waiting outside the shop? Oh, well, I'll come down specially."
Yeah.
And so she came down specially, which is the day Cliff got that 2008.
Oh yeah.
So you got two fucking ballers downstairs. You want to open up?
Yeah. Big wallets ready to pay. She was lovely actually. So whenever I go anywhere, I like to look up comic shops. I'm going to America soon. And I looked up a comic shop, and it is probably the worst reviewed comic shop I've ever seen.
Okay.
Excellent.
To such a point where it's making me laugh so much. I'm going to read you some of the reviews.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get into the reviews, first up, we love comic book stores. We love them. A big shout out to all the people who who get good ratings, and we will shout out anyone in this show.
Yeah, if there is anyone out there who gets good ratings, let me know. So this is one of them. I've taken little sections out of some quite lengthy reviews.
Okay, yeah, lovely.
Scolded a customer for being so new to the hobby, then tried for 45 minutes to, in quotes, force his religion on me. Yelled at us and told us to leave. The owner of the store doesn't really like casual readers. Did I mention the owner of the store is a jackass? The whole place reeked of smoke and pancakes. That's a fucking weird combination.
Yeah.
Smoke and pancakes would be a great name for a comic book shop.
Yeah. Wish there was a way to give this shop 0 stars. The owner decided he didn't like my sense of humour and banned me from the shop.
Brilliant.
The worst
Didn't even
comic,
say anything. I don't like your fucking humour, you. What?
the worst comic shop I've ever been to. The owner is a total creep. There you go. So that's just a handful of the reviews in this shop. So I found it, and I'm going to go there, and I'll be reporting back, like the roving reporter that I will be, on what this shop is actually like.
ACP on the road.
Wow. Yeah.
So there you go.
I would say, like, perhaps get some like live content from the actual store, but you might
noise me being punched.
I'm calling you from the floor of this this comic book store.
I'm not saying you're like a wanker, mate. I'm saying you are a wanker.
You are a wanker. There's all the attributes of a wanker, and you are one.
Don't hear about your religion. Fuck off.
Oh dear. See, that's what we do on this show, listeners. Not only do we give you fantastic things to listen to on a weekly basis, but we give you stuff to look forward to. And that's where the Tony Esmond's going to be murdered by a comic book store.
Anything for the listeners.
Yeah. I mean, we joke that, like, you know, in your comics crypt that you're currently in, you know, that the shelves will fall on top of you. That's the way you're going to go, isn't it?
Yeah. I've been moving them all around because I've been listing them. There are a few that are looking quite fucking leaning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Have there been many people? Oh God, this is morbid. But you know, if people are going to pass away, not through any nefarious means, you know, I just want to get that off the table. But you know, if the Reaper comes along and goes, "You've had a good run of it, Vince, but it's time to go."
Don't say that.
And I'm not going anywhere. But I happen to be in a comic book store. I mean, would you be pleased about that, or would that severely damage the comic book store's Google review?
He died when a Sue Storm bow and bust went up up his anus.
Wow, the way they're sculpted.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was bringing all the Sue Storm figurines down the stairs in my dressing gown.
Yeah.
And I fell awkwardly.
One went in my mouth and one went up my arse. Yeah. And one went in my ear.
Unfortunately, it was a bad incident involving Lady Death.
It was the invisible woman. I didn't see her.
Yeah. But, you know.
Lady Death. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
What's your phrase? Call naked across broken glass, tear a fart down a walkie-talkie. Isn't that your phrase?
No. Every time you say something like that, Tony, you just tweak the last bit of it.
Just the hear a fart through a walkie-talkie is the best one.
I mean, surely that sounds like static. Anyway,
Do me.
Anyway, we've got some great comics to talk about later, some great recommends, and you know, a lot more fun at the end of the show. But right now, from all of this sort of nonsense, should we just get straight into the actual proper content?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, this week we're joined by a creator and artist of such titles as Man's Best, Ghosts of Science Past, Planet Paradise, Arca, and the epic graphic novel Drome. Welcome to the show, Jesse Lonergan. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you, man.
Jesse.
Yeah,
Hello.
We've been talking about your books for a couple of years. I have to say, a lot of people are like, "Where's this Jesse Lonergan come from?" We're like, we've been talking about his books for years. Yeah, hot new star, Jesse Lonergan. But yeah.
I feel like sort of with when Hedro came out in 2020, it did feel to a lot of people like, where did this guy come from? And I think people expected me to be young. And it's like, no, I'm old, and so like I'm in my 40s. I'm not some like prodigy or anything. I'm like a late bloomer.
Yeah,
you can still be a prodigy.
But then this year, everything sort of seemed like it lines up on top of itself. So
yeah,
it's like one book, then another book, then a reprint, and
really does. It really does.
It's the old adage of like it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Do you know what I mean? It's
or 20.
The old 20. Yeah.
Well,
it takes many years.
Let's start there then. Okay, you know, for the people who are just discovering your work, you know, with all of these titles, you know, where did your comics journey start for you?
I started, getting like drawing comics. I sort of started I don't know, like drawing more seriously. I guess just like goofing around sort of in high school. And it's something that I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of things that like come and go in your life, and that was just one that didn't go.
Yeah.
Like it was always this thing I was doing and always this thing that I was sort of focusing on. And my first graphic novel was actually published in 2007. So like 20 years ago now.
Wow.
And it didn't hit. It wasn't a big success. I feel like it took me a long time to sort of, I don't know, like figure out how to be yourself in like a comfortable way.
Yeah.
Not to make this like a therapy session, but like there was sort of, I've always been more interested in like indie comics and sort of, I guess more of like an auteur sort of thing where it's like, well, this person does everything involved in this comic book. And sort of like, I feel like there was like the world as I perceived it of indie comics. And I felt like, oh, this is the kind of book that you make if you're going to make an indie comic. And it should be like, there's so much autobio in indie comics and stuff. So I tried autobio and all these different things, and like, but it really didn't fit well. And then I guess about 10 years ago, like I sort of felt like I'd been trying a long time and not having like the success I wanted at the most basic level, but like also feeling like I was sort of trying to fit into these holes or whatever, or make something that was like an indie comic. And I was like, I'm just going to do what I want to do. And I made, this weird book, Hedro, that sort of caught on. And that sort of, I think in some ways it's very, it's like this weird thing of like, it's this book I made, but it was very like fortunate that I made it. Like, because it just felt a lot of like things clicked, and all of a sudden like people saw the way I was sort of thinking about things and like these ideas, and it just sort of also put me in a sort of a weird position, I think, within comics of being like very much in between indie and mainstream, which is probably where I belong.
It's a specific looking book, isn't it, guys? Like
sort of signature style, isn't it? Yeah.
Was that a sort of like turning point for your art journey then, that book?
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like I feel like Hedro, and probably most everything I do, are books that would be very hard to pitch without seeing them. Like I feel like if I were to go to a publisher and say like, oh, I have this 56-page wordless sci-fi comic that has at least 35 panels on every page, like it's very dense. It's an obsessive grid. I feel like everyone would be like, and like people are like, oh, you're going to Image with that, and Image would be like, no, like that, we're not interested. But like I just sort of did it on my own, and it makes sense. So I feel like I don't know, sort of like, yeah, I just got lucky and sort of did my own thing, and sort of like taking these ideas sort of about like how comics could work and stuff that I feel I had been doing like lightly, and just sort of like really leaning into it. And I think like sometimes like people like within indie comics, like there's sort of this idiosyncratic like, who are you as a person sort of thing, and what is the thing that makes you interesting? And I'm not that interesting a person. I think I'm kind of a dull person, but like I obsess about these grids and these structures and these layouts, and it's like that's my idiosyncrasy, and sort of like leaning into this thing. So even though it's about space, and even though like Drome is about mythological battles and stuff, it's like the way it's being told and the way it's shown, I feel is like that's my weirdness.
Can you trace that style back?
Yeah.
Jesse, can you trace that style back to an influence or something you saw, or an artist? Or
I mean, definitely like Chris Ware,
I can see that
was an influence, like where he did, especially like his sort of the pre-Jimmy Corrigan stuff, where with like Quimby the Mouse and some of the original Acme novel, he really did these like dense pages that were very sort of like design focused. And then I think so he was a huge influence, like of how sort of how you could think about a page, how a page could work. And then I think some of it is just like my weirdness of like I I like order in an odd way, which is funny because you can see like the mess behind me, but like I like things being out of order will bother me, like and sort of like thinking about the page in that way, thinking about it with more of a graphic design sense, it's sort of
Yeah.
like a mix of my personality, but then also sometimes with comics, I have this sort of like Scott McCloud called, the subtitle of Understanding Comics is the invisible art. And part of me is like, it shouldn't be invisible. I don't know if it's like my ego is like, no, you should see it. Like you should see these things. And so sometimes I think like I'll see something that maybe like was done in, a Spider-Man comic or something. And it's just like, but I don't want this to be invisible. I want like to like draw attention to it and sort of insist on it.
Interesting.
And so I think a
Yeah.
lot of it came out of that sort of thinking
Like
about
in
like how a
in
page
films,
could work.
they have like a city, and
Mhm.
they say the city is a character and is part of the story. I feel like when I was reading
Yeah,
Drome, the framing and the guttering was its own character and became part of the story.
yeah,
And I struggle to
yeah,
think of where I've come across that before in like sequential art.
yeah. I think, yeah, I think, people say I'm a formalist, but I sort of think as form as being a big part of storytelling. Like, I'm not personally, I'm not that interested in like new stories or new ideas. I kind of feel like, yeah, you kind of see the same thing, but then it's like the form it takes is what has the impact. And
Mm.
so like Star Wars had this huge impact in 1977. Like it is a good story, but it's also just like no, the form that it had, like the way it was edited, these special effects that had never been seen before, the way they were, incorporated. And so it's not like I think if it's like you think about it, it's kind of a predictable story, but the way it's being told is sort of very different. And sort of, I, I guess I kind of think about like, well, it's a lot about like the way you tell the story
Yeah.
and something, and sort of
Yeah.
like for me, I'm very interested in sort of what can only work in comics.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Like people
really
are like,
interesting.
oh,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it could be a movie made of Drome, and I'd be like, I don't, why,
How?
yeah.
why would you
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
You would and like it's like would you want to be involved in it? It's like no, like I'd want a filmmaker to do something in film because like there's so many things that film has that comics don't, but also so many things that comics have that film don't that
Absolutely.
doesn't. And so like I lean into like, well, this is only going to work in comics, or you can get away with this in comics. You can't really get away with this
It's
anywhere
interesting.
else. Um,
It's interesting to me, Jesse, as well,
yeah,
that the way
go
you
ahead.
play with time, and I think that plays into what you're talking about there, because comics has always been this sort
Yeah.
of transition of time. You know, you only got to look at. I kind of see you as an evolution of Krigstein and Miller, and that movement because
Yeah.
you're splitting up time in a really different way in panels, aren't you? You're cutting through people and through things in order to
Yeah.
show movement
Yeah.
and stuff. Were they early influences or anything like that?
Miller definitely was a huge influence, and still I feel like I can't say he's underrated, but I feel like his influence isn't like fully understood because
Okay.
basically to me there's like comics before his Daredevil run, like and they look one way. They look like Jack Kirby, John Buscema comics from the 60s and 70s. And then he comes in and it's just like pages never look the same again.
Yeah.
He the way he approached pages, like and his just sort of like willingness, at least at the time, to experiment and try different things and just like see if this works, like was a huge influence. Kriegstein's one I had to, like anybody my age, you have to, I don't think anybody's growing up reading
Yeah.
those.
No, I
Those
agree.
have
You have
to
to
you
go
have to
back and have a
find those
look.
a bit later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so like but yeah, definitely like the way time can work, the way like, and sometimes also I think there's an advantage of comics of that you don't actually have time. And so
Yeah.
you can do like film is like very governed by time, and like you have this amount of time, and they can do like the quick shot like in
Jump
Alien.
scares.
The first time
Yeah.
you see the alien, it's just like it's like, what is that, a fraction of a second that you see the alien the first time and it's gone. And it's like, well, comics, you don't have that. You can't do that like flash of something, because you know the reader can just look at it as long as they want.
Yeah.
But you can be free from time. And so you can, you know, when I think about the page, sometimes it's like, okay, well, this is roughly the order of time, but then this doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be ABC. It can be like A, like it can all be sort of the same time. And then it gets fun if you start playing with it like, oh, it's all the same time except for this one part, which is a different time, or like, you know, these different ways of sort of bringing things in that I feel like you can't really. I kind of think you can sort of do it in writing. I think it's sort of like invisible in writing, of like, if you're reading a paragraph, how many different times will be referenced within a paragraph of like a memory of something someone said, like it just flies back and forth, and we don't even think about it. And I think comics can do that too. I don't know that they have as much.
One of the things that strikes me about your work, and like, you know, being from a graphic design background as well, like, you know, it's just, I'm all about the way you design.
I'm totally uneducated graphic design wise, just for the record. So
I mean, sorry,
all terminology.
Yeah, I don't know all the names. I'm purely what it looks like. But there is with your work as well. One of the reasons I love it is because it looks like you're creating a visual puzzle, like on the page, and yet it's so easy. You're never lost in it, and there's a magic trick happening there, because because you know, for some people to do, you know, it's one thing to have, you know, break up a page into like 30 boxes and panels and do something, but it could come across like an empty art exercise in any other hand, but you're still telling a narrative. You know, I mean, when you're plotting this out, how do you design and write something like this for yourself? Because I'm guessing there's a lot of work before you even get to the page. Is that right?
It's with Drome, which is so much longer as well.
Yeah. I think I had I plan out the story pretty. It was pretty clearly planned out. Like, you know, I knew all the things that were going to happen. But then I think with the way, like the kind of storytelling I like to do, it is very visually driven. And I can't write it. like a visual idea will lead to another visual idea, will lead to another visual idea. And so those kind of come from the drawing process. So I spend a lot of time in sort of the layout thing, and I sort of have, you know, an idea of like how many pages I have to do this thing, you know, like whatever, you know, needs to be conveyed of, you know, this guy breaks out of his shackles, or something like that. Like I have the amount of pages, and then it's sort of like figuring out how it can be told in a way that I think is, I think with it, like you mentioned, like a puzzle, I think it's a little bit of like a game. I feel like, where I'm not trying to be obtuse. I'm not trying to be unclear or anything. But I'm having fun. And I think, oh, this is cool. And like, and I guess I sort of, I think there are the things that need to be really clear, but then there's things that's like, well, that can be muddy. And there's a lot of fun when it can be a little bit muddy, and and hopefully other people will enjoy it. And I think one of the things that maybe keeps it fun is because I sort of focus visually, and I'm sort of working, like drawing while I'm thinking out the actions. It ends up being very action focused, and so it's never people talking. It's never like,
oh really,
like it is like oh no, people are like, big battles, big fights, like, like big jumps, like very visually things. So I think while there's all this like sort of potentially high-minded like experimentation and thinking about it, it is sort of like grounded in like this sort of fun action story at the same time.
I'm interested
yeah,
in.
I like.
Sorry, man. Go on. Pardon me.
Oh, I think also sometimes with all media, like there's this idea of, it needs to be clear, and for me that doesn't really matter. Like
Yeah.
Like I have a friend, Tony McMillan, who also does comics, and sometimes we'll just talk about like Rolling Stone lyrics. I mean, like, I don't know what that means. Like what does it mean? Like in like Live With Me, he's like, the meat I eat for dinner has to be hung up for a week, or like what does that mean? Like or it's like,
well, does it just rhyme?
Tea at 3. It just rhymes.
Yeah.
Is it just a rhyme? Does it mean something? Do British people hang meat? Like, like I don't know what that is. When is, like, I've got nasty habits. I drink tea at 3, and it's like, is that early? Is that late? I don't know. What's it like? It doesn't change my enjoyment of the song that I don't really know what he's talking about.
You're quite right, man.
It just sounds good, and like I feel that with like poetry in like high school, like we'd have to like break it apart and figure out what it means, and you'd be like, well, this is a metaphor for this. But now as an adult, I just read it and I'm like, I like that. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but I'm enjoying these sequences of words and the imagery that's coming into my mind. I may not be understanding it the way the poet intended, but that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I guess with comics,
it's like
I'm
enjoying
like, I don't really
enjoying
care.
a Zappa movie, Zappa song. It's the same.
Yeah.
I've got an interest in your evolution, because I know if you look at stuff like Hedro and even Faster, which I know has just been released, and some of your other work, Planet Paradise, there were shorter works. How did the much longer Drome come about? You were talking about planning in advance and stuff like that. Was it a publishing kind of suggestion, or did you think you were ready at this point to do a much bigger book?
Yeah, I felt like I was ready to do it, and it felt like, I guess I felt like I had put forth sort of like ideas of how I wanted to do a comic in Hedro, and I want to sort of like expand on that and build on that, and sort of tell the kind of story that needed that sort of space where the art can sort of like I don't know if you do spoilers and stuff.
We'll put a heads up for the audience.
Okay, there's this bull that becomes very prominent at the end of the story, and it's established really, really, really early. And I like the idea of like sort of this sort of masking that only really works if it's a lot of pages, that you can have it like have this sort of thing be like the background, and people see it once, they see it twice, they see it 3 times, and it's like, I don't know, like it's sort of like it allows for you to sort of think of things as normal, and then changes feel more dramatic than you can do in sort of a shorter form. And so there was that aspect of like just wanting to build with ideas, and then also sort of wanting with sort of maybe it's an American thing of just like kind of wanting to put everything I could into it. And when I say American things, I think of books like Moby Dick or Look Homeward Angel or On the Road, where it's just sort of like we're jamming everything into it. And sort of wanted to do this sort of big sprawling sort of piece, I guess, and then sitting down and working on it for 5 years. So,
I get you, man. Yeah, which I think we're going to definitely talk about craft in a minute, but I did want to particularly ask you about the difference in your style between stuff like Drome and We Ride at Night, which we did a sort of 3-way review on. Recently, which is just so different, man. It just, I mean, you can really see the Miller influence, I would say, if you don't.
Oh
mind
yeah,
say
yeah.
So in that, how was that?
that was
Just like you needed
I
to
guess
let
it feels yeah when it like I guess I get personally I get like frustrated doing the same thing again and again and sort of um I wanted sort of this much more I feel like with Drome, there's this very controlled aspect of the page structure and the
yeah,
layouts and stuff, but also like the way I draw is very very kind of consistent and pretty clean overall. And sort
yeah.
of with Rewrite at Night, I sort of wanted to get like a much noisier visual, less like layout focused and more just sort of image focused. Um, and so yeah, just trying different things, and yeah, just that like sort of level of experiment. I guess I just sort of enjoy. I don't like you have the stories you tell, and
Yeah.
sometimes you tell a story like 3 or 4 times, and you hear it coming out of your mouth, and you're like, these are the exact same words. And basically, for me, it's like I will never tell this story again. It's that like there's something. I guess I get like bored with doing the same thing, so I always want.
It's like a,
It's
it's
been
like a
working on it
musician.
for
Yeah,
years.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like a
Figuring out
musician
something
trying
new,
that different
yeah.
album, isn't it? Just sort of like, oh, you know me for rock,
Yeah.
but here's my acoustic album. Here's this sort of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
when you experiment with something like this, how was the actual was it a successful experiment? Did you really enjoy making it? Is it a sort of style that you'd love to try for something else in the future?
And in all honesty, please do more because we really loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think We Ride at Night is a semi-successful experiment. I think visually it's a successful experiment. There was a narrative element that I feel where I kind of didn't want it to be too clear what was happening.
Okay.
And I think overall it's too unfocused for the length that it is.
Interesting.
Like, as I think it's 28 pages, and I think if it's I think for a reader there's not quite a narrative enough meat to hold on to, and so it is something like visually stylistic I would like to return to, but narratively I think something a little tighter would make it a little
Interesting.
better.
For those that haven't read it, it's basically a Batman bootleg that takes
Yeah,
place
Batman
over
bootleg.
the playing of a cassette tape that's called We Ride at Night. And you experiment. Not only is it visually sort of very inky and much more sketchy in style, but you also at one point you insert a an action figure into it. The lettering you use is kind of one of those stamp machines as well. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stamps, a Dymo label maker, some collage as well. Yeah, I sort of wanted to try and get sort of as much different stuff onto the paper. I wanted the photograph of Mr. Freeze, or just the Mr. Freeze toy. Originally, what I wanted to do was actually take another artist's art. Like I wanted to take Kelly Jones's Mr. Freeze and just sort of lift it and put it in, sort of almost like a sample or something. But I felt like I was just known enough that I could meet Kelly Jones and I could make him angry. But at the same time, I didn't. Asking for permission was no fun. So I was like, I don't want to ask him for permission to do it. So I'll do something else that's sort of just like lifting from some other place. But yeah, I wanted to pull Kelly Jones art and just sort of stick it in and then work my art sort of around it. But I also didn't want to ask for permission. So that's my weird.
Let's ask him. Yeah.
Weird wanting to break the rules, but still being a dull nerd.
Yeah, it needs to be a bit. That wasn't punk enough going to him and asking him, was it? I guess. Yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah. But at the same time, I also I did want to make him angry because I love Kelly Jones. I highly respect his work.
Can we roll
yeah,
back to the work like Planet Paradise and Drome and stuff like that, and just talk through your process for it, man? And so,
Yeah.
it's physical, digital? How do you start it?
I draw on paper.
Right, nice.
So everything is done sort of, all the line work is done by hand, and then I color digitally. So with Planet Paradise and with Drome, like, I do all the lettering on paper, and just sort of pencils and ink, and then digital coloring, and sometimes digital shuffling, sort of. One of the nice things about having this grid obsession is it's very easy to pull out a panel and put a new panel in to make it fit.
Grid obsession may be the title of this episode.
Yeah.
I can't. I really can't help it. It's because even if you look at the stuff I did before Hedro, it's on a grid. It's just not as forceful. Not as obvious.
I know you're doing a lot of work, for example, Dark Horse, and you seem to be sort of working at a number of different companies. Are you, with your next personal project, are you going to break free a little bit from that, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm working on a thing called Panda Delivery Service right now.
Yeah, I'm on your Patreon, man, loving it. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks. This sort of surreal adventure comic, and I'm just sort of doing it myself, sort of self-publishing it in a very micro level, but I think the way I did Drome and the way I did Hedro is I just did them and then found a publisher afterwards. And so sort of my work habit right now is I have a job of comics, so right now this Miss Truesdale and the Rise of Man series is coming out, so I work on that, and then after dinner I work on my own stuff.
Oh wow. Okay.
So how does that work with publishers then? Because Drome is such a things like that are such a specific thing. They're so locked in, and they're a sizable book. So you take that to a publisher and go, right, here's my book.
Yeah.
There's almost the freedom for a publisher to bend and stretch and say, could you change this? Could you edit? The role of the editor. How does that work with you when you take a book like Drome to them and say, here, it's ready to go, essentially?
I haven't experienced too much of change this, change that. There was sort of a few notes on Drome that I didn't disagree with, so I maybe had to redraw 12 pages and stuff. I think within comics, before it's drawn, people will have a lot of notes, but then I think after it's drawn, I think everybody's scared to ask somebody to draw something again.
Also, I think people can't always verbalize what it is around the comic when they're presenting it sometimes. And when they see it like they will be Drome, they go, oh, right, now I get what you mean. It's almost a bit of that.
And so I guess I feel I'm not very good at explaining what my books will look like or what they'll be, because I think a lot of it is well, you just have to see it. It's it's you can't really explain a song to someone and be oh yeah, we'll record your album, you explained it really well.
I mean, if you're pitching Hedro to anyone, what does that even sound like? Before, if you were pitching it before you worked on it.
I would argue it's impossible to fully
before I worked on
it.
Before it was done, I would just be I have this idea for sort of a space adventure. It would be awful. It would be terrible if I tried to pitch it before it was done. And I just sort of I think I'm lucky in that I can produce a certain volume that I can sort of work on my own thing and work paid jobs at the same time. And then that what I make people are interested in. So gives me a bit of freedom as well, I think.
Now that you're this established overnight success, Jesse, is is there are there any sort of comic characters that you just think I would love to work on that? You could flex a bit now, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't think I can flex that much.
Yes, you can. Your
you
rad's getting
mean
nice
like
yeah.
make make DC be like, give me Dead Man.
Now we're talking.
I don't think so. But like I guess like I also think part of like characters that I think would be a lot of fun. Dead Man would be a lot of fun.
Oh man, are you killing that?
Something like who else? Deathlock would be a lot of fun, I think, to do sort of like a post-apocalyptic one. But I feel like I always lean towards those like C level, D level.
Yeah,
they're the most interesting ones. I think they're the ones that are unmined.
Ones you can do stuff with as well. You can't do a lot with Superman or Batman.
Like Batman. There's so much Batman that I don't know that I have like a great idea for a Batman story or a Superman story.
With a Batman, it's just someone's version of a Batman, isn't it? There's nothing you can really mine from it. Yeah.
But with Vertigo starting up, that you can't tell me they ain't reached out, man. They would be mad if they haven't reached out to you.
They haven't talked to me about doing a book or anything like that.
Okay.
So like I think I think in some corners I'm known, in some corners I don't think people know me at all. And so like so I don't know if there's a character to do or something like that where because I think to some extent maybe with like especially with like mainstream stuff, it's like he can do this weird stuff, like he can do stuff like Drome, but like DC and Marvel Comics are not in the business of releasing books like Drome. So like there might be some like I don't know if he could actually do Spider-Man in a way that our fan base.
In all due respect to Marvel and DC, they fucking should be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you have certain publishers, especially with the way that comics are read and stuff. And the first one that pops on my mind is like the Absolute Wonder Woman, like the design of some of those pages. That, you can see them with these offshoots of the main league. People are trying things. But I mean, saying that, you've probably got a million ideas of your own somewhere just bubbling away.
I have lots of things. Like if money weren't a concern, I'd just do my own thing.
You're a big would you say you're a science fiction guy? A lot of your stuff very much stems in the science fiction.
You're seen.
Not like a huge science fiction guy. I think I like science fiction, but I probably lean more like fantasy mythology, and so like I've read Asimov, but I don't really think about like a scientific premise and go with stories. I just sort of I feel like a
robot book. I'd love to see that, man. I'd love
to do a robot book. That'd be fun.
So good. The other one I'd love to see you doing, it's a shame because they've kind of just done it at Boom, is Dune. You want a Dune book?
Oh,
man. Absolutely love to see it.
That'd be fun. Yeah. Dune's one of those great books. I don't know if Dune can be done any better than the first book, at least. I haven't read all of it.
Agreed.
But that first book is one of those amazing. The amount of layers in Dune, where it's like this sort of works as a political book. This works as an environmental book. This works as like a mythology. Like it's just
works
like
as a Messiah book. It works as a religious tome.
Like works as religion. Like it's just like this book. It's just every level. Like it feels like it touches upon.
But what I would like to see is you drawing people riding worms across the desert.
Clear. I mean, there's
breaking through every panel border of a 200-page book. Yeah, probably.
I sort of got visions of when like Paul's taking the water of life and he has these visions, the things he could do with that. The grid system.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But when I mean, obviously you're working with other writers as well, Jesse. Like what is that experience How is that
Yeah.
experience different from you? Because obviously with your own work, you can play, experiment, and do your figure it all out.
Yeah.
It's a bit different with conventional storytelling. What's that been like?
It's interesting because like I don't necessarily feel that limited as an artist, but as a writer, I very much think there's the things that I can write, and then there's all the things that I can't write. So Dune, and but like things with sort of these sort of more dense plots are not really like something I'm going to do. And so like working with writers, you sort of get an opportunity to sort of do something that I wouldn't write because I still like drawing it and things like that. So there's that aspect. There is like, I think sort of it's a very different way of thinking, I think, like than sort of how I think on my own. Because it's written, like there's my notes for writing like a page are very, very minimal. And then, a script will have page and a half for one comic book page. And so it's just like a very different way of thinking. And, I just sort of see it as like, it's a little bit more of like, what is like the key thing that on this page, what is the narrative, and like, how can I best make it work?
With your style as well, I guess the writers and collaborators, they're working with you for a specific reason. You get a Jesse Lonergan book, don't you?
Yeah, I think there is a difference, like working with writers who are also artists. So like Mike Mignola or Matt Kent, where I feel like they're much sort of looser, and they're sort of like, you figure it out. While writers who are not artists will they just write differently. Like they'll write
prescriptive maybe, or
they'll sort of like write more description of a panel or what's in a panel. Sometimes they'll write things that are impossible. Like it's just like, that's I'm not going to draw that. Where it's sort of, sometimes it's like a matter of scale. Like it's like, a big crowd scene and a person looking at, and we see a face on a cell phone, and it's like, it's really, really hard to draw a full crowd and a cell phone conversation. Like, and so I just go like, 2 panels. Split it up and add a panel.
Nice.
But yeah,
you've got a few.
I
think it's maybe worth we mention the moment where we mention Cliff Cumber again. We like to mention him every episode. So you met Cliff at SPX. Yeah. How is SPX for you? I've done it previously with No Brow. Do you enjoy it there?
Yeah, I do. I like SPX. I felt this year I was like, I don't know if I belong here. It feels. I guess I was very much feeling my age while I was at SPX. Yeah, like it was sort of like, and also there's like the mainstream U.S. comic book convention, the indie comic book convention. But like I have my table and I have my stuff, and next to me there's like 4 people behind the table. Like they've all like chipped in they're part of the table cost to get their quarter of it. This sort of very much young people.
There's room for both, but
like,
as I understand
like 7 of them sleeping in a room and stuff.
I know what you mean.
It's like
you're lodging it in
like
the penthouse.
No. It's not that. It's just that like I'm 47 years old. I'm
58 and I did it a couple of years ago. And I feel your pain. I did feel like an older person there. But then again, Drome sold out, as I understand it, didn't it? You sold out at Drome.
It sold out. It sold really well. No, like I think like I guess it's just more the tabling experience.
Yeah.
Like definitely you'll find like going and checking out stuff.
Energy levels are a different beast when you're older. Energy levels. Especially
social battery.
If it's like a 2-day con as well, by the end of the second day you're like, I could just
can't say this again. I can't say this again. Yeah. Are you still based in Pennsylvania? Are you, Jesse? Or
I
what's
live,
the scene like there?
Philadelphia.
What's the scene up there?
I don't know.
That's a true artist answer. That is. They're like,
I don't know.
I lived in Boston for a long time, and I moved here at the end of 2019, and then the pandemic hit, March 2020, and then we had our daughter in August 2021. And I do not socialize just sort of I don't. They have there's good stores and stuff. There's Partners and Sons and some other shops, and they have good events, but they're at 8 at night. And I'm going to the city at 8 and get home. It's my daughter is gonna wake up at 5 a.m. That
Right.
is guaranteed. So I haven't actually been much of a part of the Philly scene. It seems like it has a strong indie scene. But I'm sort of
Is Jim Rugg based out there? Am I right in saying that?
Jim Rugg's in Pittsburgh.
I'll get the
which is in Pennsylvania, but about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Okay,
west.
you can get to the other end of England in 4 hours. It's,
yeah. You guys, we have a different scale of things. Here. I find it even. I'm a Northeasterner. I grew up in New England, basically, and there's just this I live outside of Philadelphia now, and so Baltimore is 2 hours away. New York's 2 hours away. And Boston is so far, it's 6 hours away. But as you go west, you get into the Midwest, and 6 hours away is nothing. They're I live close to Chicago. I live 8 hours away, and I'm 8 hours. I could be in Florida at 8 hours. It's just a different attitude of what's far and what isn't.
So in relation,
spoiled Northeastern person.
In relation to your hermit-like lifestyle, Jesse, are you doing many cons this year? Are you going to get out and do any, or?
I'm gonna do some,
right.
But I don't think too many. I'll probably do Heroes Con.
Right.
We'll see about New York. We'll see about San Diego, and then I'll be going to Lucca in Italy.
Oh, I love Lucca, man.
Awesome.
Have you been before?
I've never been.
Beautiful place, mate. You'll come back weighing about 2 stone heavier, by the way, just so you know.
I don't know. I did Angoulême last year, and I actually lost weight at Angoulême.
Okay.
I think just because being busy, walking a lot, and healthier food.
I guess so. Yeah, I've done Angoulême a few times.
I feel
it's definitely better food, isn't it? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's not it's what I came back feeling is the bottom level in the United States is pretty bad. The worst thing you're going to eat in the U.S. is pretty awful. Well, the worst thing you're going to eat in France is that's pretty good.
Pizza or something like that.
It's this bread is much better than the bread I would be eating for the equivalent sandwich in the United States.
Cool. I'm hoping to do Heroes this year, so I usually try and do it. I hang out with Jason Wood and the EOC crowd and all that. I know you're friends with Jason, so yeah, I'm hoping to do it. But and then I'm doing Baltimore later in the year.
Brilliant.
Which is a good con as well.
Have you done
Baltimore?
Baltimore?
Yeah, really
I
good.
have done Baltimore. That one's a lot of fun. Yeah. Baltimore and Heroes, I feel, are sort of similar, where they're
absolutely.
Well, they're both independent, and
Same
great
sort of vibe.
artists, great, similar sort of feeling.
The only difference with outside of Heroes is nice. Outside of Baltimore is a bit sketchy. That's the only way I feel about it. Have you seen The Wire? Yes. Yeah. I got offered heroin by an Uber driver in Baltimore once.
Brilliant.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's pretty classy. Yeah.
That's
proud of that.
Baltimore, I feel, gets a bad rap. I feel around the convention it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely some rough parts.
Yeah.
I don't know about the UK, but definitely I've heard people coming from Denmark or the Scandinavian countries being what is going on? There are homeless people just lying on the street. I'm
yeah,
that's part of life.
We're not in beautiful Stockholm. Yeah, sadly.
No.
Yeah.
And they're like, I thought it was really dangerous. It's like, oh, it's not that many murders in Philadelphia. There's only like 400 a year or something. It's
Just in the Bay Area. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
stuff,
yeah,
man.
Heroes is great. Charlotte's a great city.
Charlotte's a
Baltimore,
lovely
I like
place,
a lot,
man.
too.
Really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
yeah.
Nicest people as well.
Yeah.
Fucking love the people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
What's your working day like then for your process when you're working on a book?
Awful.
Now your
very-
book seems so structured and thought out. Are you going to tell me now that like I'm just making it up as I go along every day?
No. It's so my daughter's 4.
Yeah.
And life revolves around her and
Yeah.
her schedule. And so like I try to work before she goes to preschool. I have to drive her to preschool and get her out the door Monday through Wednesday. So I wake up at like 5 a.m. hope to work for a couple hours until about 7, and then I'm dealing with her, getting her to school. I hopefully get back home at like 9:30, and then work until about noon, and then eat lunch, and then go pick her up from school, and then hopefully get back to work at like 2. So
Not bad, man.
and then work
There's a lot of
until
work
dinner,
for you,
and then
isn't
have
there?
dinner, and then work a lot. It's very interrupted. I feel it's not the
But it's the equivalent
Not the
almost
best
a bit of
schedule.
walking around the block. I find, you need a walk around the block
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes, don't you? Just to get better ideas and refresh your mind a bit sometimes.
Yeah, that would be a positive way to look at it. What I find it will just happen is I'm able to do like the one thing, the big thing, but all the little things, like I don't know, say responding to Vince's emails, like those things just get like erased. Like they just like I'll be thinking, I'll be working. It's like I got to do this, I got to do A, B, and C, and then like something happens, and it's like, all right. Well, what was I?
Yeah,
I
whenever I
remember
email
A,
people,
I do not remember B and C.
yeah, I always say, I know you're busy, because everyone's busy. Everyone's got their own
Yeah.
life and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
so-
yeah.
Yeah.
So at Heroes
I
and Baltimore,
feel
you're
that's-
just you're gonna go fucking mental. Now you're free. You're gonna get on it, ruin yourself for a couple of days.
I have definitely seen those guys, those
Yeah,
professionals
no.
at the convention where it is like, oh, here are my 4 days to live. I am like out until 5 a.m. I'm not showing up into the convention until 1 p.m.
Complaining
Like,
about
I'll
hangover.
be wearing
Yeah.
sunglasses like until about 10 p.m. No, I don't do that.
Are you one of those creators that,
I feel
because
like-
we've heard people sort of say, oh, I do the convention, and then I've got pages to work on in my hotel
Or
room.
I've got
or
commissions
I've got
in the room as
commissions.
well.
No,
Yeah.
No?
I don't do that. No, that's crazy to me. I block off convention as the Maybe it's just my social thing. It's like, no, the convention is the work. Like
Right.
that is my work, and it is a long day.
Yeah.
And I don't do any of that work. I try and schedule and arrange things so that I have lots of time if possible, and generally don't bring any work to conventions. Occasionally I might have to draw a commission, but that'll be something I've chosen to do at the convention.
Is that something you're getting
Yeah.
more of a request for now, being the overnight sensation that you are? Very times have we said that.
Yeah, I get commission requests pretty regularly. Yeah, I feel like I can get them if I want them. I don't always want them.
Yeah.
It's like they're fun and they're a thing, but like if I sort of they're still work, and so
Yeah,
like if
okay.
I'm working on a book and working on my own thing and working with a 4-year-old, like it's
Yeah.
time disappears.
Do
pretty
you sell
quickly.
your originals at conventions or?
Yeah, I sell some originals, and I have an art rep that sells originals as well.
Who's your art rep,
And
Jesse?
so, they're called the Artist Bullpen.
Okay.
They represent a few people, not too many. I think it's under 20 right now.
Nice.
Okay.
What
but,
size do you work to? Is it 11 by
Generally, it's
17?
standard, sort of 11 by 17. Yeah. sort of just a standard size.
Nice.
I don't know. It's sort of a funny thing of like, yeah, it's kind of dictated by my scanner. Like, you know, like the hassle of seaming something. So like it is nice to work big, but it's real hassle.
Yeah, I get you.
Scan and store. So 11 by 17 is like a convenient size.
Yeah.
Jesse, it's so interesting to me when we speak to artists, and I kind of somehow trying to intuit from the page what the artist is going to be like when I meet them, and you've slightly confounded me today. I'll be honest with you, Jesse. I can see there's a zen quality to you, but it's a little more crazy than I expected. But I'm liking it. Yeah, if you allow me to say that.
Yeah, I always feel people, especially coming out with Hedro, I felt like nobody knew who I was and nobody had seen me even.
Right.
And I think they expected me to be much more interesting.
Right.
Like I feel like
That's
I'm a
not
little
what I
disappointing.
meant.
It's just like, oh, it's just like he is a normal guy. I like that guy.
They expect you to turn up looking like Zappa.
That guy
doing a load of weed.
Could be working in the coffee shop. He could be buying coffee in the coffee. I've walked by that guy 10 times today. Like,
that's the beauty of
We expect you to be on a lot more drugs, Jesse. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I think what I was going to say with the conventions, it's like, no, I had the late nights, I had the parties, I had fun in my 20s. In my 40s, it's not something I'm looking to.
And now you just want to make comics, which works for us.
Yeah.
I did laugh one year. Me and Cliff ended up back in our twin room reading comics to each other at like 9:30 at night one night. And I'm thinking, we live the fucking lifestyle. What rock and roll geezers we are.
I mean,
and he's reading the Strontium Dog story to me while we're laying on the bed.
You are romantic.
There was one Heroes. I roomed with Tony McMillan. We just watched Orca on TV. Like,
amazing.
I don't.
We did the same once. Yeah.
The bar is going to be better than this movie.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, not enough is said about the fantastic. Whatever movie you catch in the hotel room on the night of it's just the best film ever.
Tell them the story.
Which Dolph Lundgren movie was it? But it was amazing.
Me and Vince were sharing a room at this convention, and Dan was in a room down the corridor. But it just so happened we were watching exactly the same movie on the hotel television. We're just texting each other about a fucking Dolph
Lundgren movie.
Yeah.
Dark Angel.
Universal
I think
Soldier
it might have been Dark Angel. Yeah.
Dark Angel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
What a beautiful moment that was.
But I mean, one thing. I mean, before we let you go and like get your links and everything, throughout all of this I just want to speak for us and the listeners. You're going, I'm not really that interesting, or people would just say, I'm really boring. Right? We have been fascinated by this whole conversation, and we could talk for hours.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, from all of us here at the ACP, stop being so harsh on yourself, Jesse.
Mate, hugely insightful. I really enjoyed that.
It's something deep. It's something deep in my family culture. It's like, I've been told I'm bad at taking compliments.
And rightly so.
He
should be.
There's
too many people who encourage more compliments in this industry.
It's like, please don't compliment me.
Well, rather than you, then let us just say that the books are awesome.
Sublime,
all of
man.
it. Yes,
absolutely.
all of them. So
Chef's kiss.
Just keep them coming, man.
And Fast has just come out. It's just been re-released, isn't it? Faster.
Faster just came out through Bolgihan. So it's like a nice big printing, beautiful. The printing really came out beautiful. Yeah.
And Drome's just been reprinted, isn't it? I think I saw in yours.
Yeah, the reprint of Drome is now available. I don't know what it was like in the UK.
I know Greg in Gosh this very day. I was in Gosh in London this morning, and he said he can't get copies of it. And I said, "Well, have another look because I think it's just been reprinted." So I think they were.
But the UK is
we're Diamond
UK.
UK.
Is that the name of it?
We're Diamond UK still.
Maybe then. I don't know, but it was released by a separate publisher, I think, in the UK.
You're right, man. Absolutely. Yeah. I wonder if what I've got
It's 23rd Street in the US, but I think is it Castle Point? Is that the?
Yeah, I'm just looking. Well, I'm not sure. I think mine might be an American version.
Yeah. What other books have you got like coming up in the near future over the rest of the year?
First second. Pardon me. First second.
First second.
Oh, it was for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got the second series with Mike Mignola, Miss Truesdale and the Rising Man. That'll be finishing up soon, and then it'll be collected later this year. And I'm about to start a project with Matt Kinnon.
Nice.
I think maybe the first issue will be coming out later this year. I think. I'm not sure.
Right.
And then there's some short stories and stuff. Yeah, Matt Kinnon, I love. He's so calm. Right, like he's like, it's like I want to be more like him because he just seems like chill.
Yeah, yeah, we need more energy like that in comics, don't we? We need more people.
Yeah.
Where can people find all the comics and follow you on Patreon, etc. like that?
Yeah, I've got Patreon, which is just like Jesse Lonergan Patreon. So Patreon.com/Jesse Lonergan. There's my website, which is jesselonergan.com.
Which is a great website, by the way.
Instagram is
great
on
there.
Yeah, it's a really good website. Yeah.
If you want to see comics, I kind of just put everything up.
There's loads on there.
Brilliant.
Until somebody tells me not to, it just goes up. And Instagram's probably the social media where I'm the most active, I guess, and that's Jesse.Lonergan.
Yeah.
Although social media has gotten harder, I feel like it's become a challenge in multiple levels of just like I don't want to look at this anymore. It's like it's gotten ugly.
It's like sometimes like just finding guests and stuff like that. That like the world of the DMs is hardly a place you want to float around in, but you have to do it.
The weird, all sorts of weird DMs and stuff.
Yeah. But you replied to us.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Sorry.
I did. I will check. I'll check the requests box.
Yeah.
But
well, thank you for replying. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome back anytime, Jesse. This has been awesome.
Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
And how good was that?
That was fantastic.
Could have spoken to Jesse for hours just about art process and
There's so much we didn't talk about there, isn't there? The Mignola stuff. We could have dug more into that. Yeah, there's loads there. But
he definitely creates. He creates books that. And we only just scratched the surface of like what you see on the page. There's so much going on, and the way I've come to almost loathe the word deconstruct because I think it's a meaningless word, and I think he doesn't deconstruct. If anything, he progresses the medium in a certain way, and like the way that the panels break apart, and the grids are mixed up, and sometimes the grids literally shatter on a page. If you go to his website, literally there's wonderful examples of it, and he just loves, especially like wordless storytelling and stuff like that as well. Just an absolute one of the sort of masters of the craft, I think. Like
when he was talking about the old this is only stuff you can do in a comic book, that's fucking spot on. Like any of his stuff done in film is like there's no point doing this. This is like for this medium. And therefore I think a lot of our listeners, and if you're new to the show, definitely check out his work, because I think he's also he is both an individual artist. You can see that like the influences, but one who will influence a lot of creators as well. The likes of I mean also like the likes of JWC, our pal JWC does interesting stuff with the page layouts and stuff similar to Jesse, and I love looking at all that stuff. Well worth your time and effort, and loads more to come on this show. But speaking of things that are worth your time and effort, and not just us, do we have any shout outs this week, gents?
Yeah, I got a few. So Inkblot Festival, past guests have a busy year lined up. 30th of May they're in Nottingham. So the next event they're having in Nottingham, 31st of October, Halloween. They're in Manchester for an event. If you follow them on Inkblot_festival on Instagram, you can find out about their upcoming events. They're looking for people to table. If you're up for tabling, contact them. They are still looking for a London venue. I think Simon suggested somewhere to them. I'm not sure why or if it worked out, but they are still looking to a London one. But Nottingham's back in the mix again. We enjoy a trip to Nottingham, and Manchester's in the mix, which is only for the good up there. Congratulations to our buddies at the Earth 2 podcast for reaching their 300th episode.
Hey,
we love those dudes. Yeah. What a great podcast that is. A little read through with a great sense of humour on a DC comic, and then a little talk about the letters pages. Little talk about it. We've all been on there. So very much love those guys. Macc Pow is back in the land of the north in a place called Macclesfield in June. Attending will be our buddies Sam Hardacre and Lloyd Mills. So it's going to be worth a visit if you find out about that one as well. There you go. That's mine.
Nice. Damn.
Me, Yo Comics, a comics fair for kids by kids, Sunday 22nd of March 2026, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Stanley Arts, 12 Savden, Northwood Hill, London, SE25 6AB. So that's when you listen to this on the Monday or this week. It's this coming Sunday. So do go check it out. It's free entry, free comics. No ticket needed to turn up on the day. So that'd be awesome.
It's always good.
We've got the Perfect Collection, trade paperback, Perfect 10, issues 1 to 6. The Adventures of 10, the artificial assassin of supervillains, are now collected in hardcover and trade paperback. That's absolutely fucking going great guns by Dave Brink. Very much like if you kind of, the 90s image kind of era, that kind of look. Yeah. This is very much your cup of tea. We've read a couple of the issues. It's no nonsense storytelling. It's, yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's what it is, but it does it well. I think it does it really well.
Exactly. That's like Jesse was saying.
So you want, man?
It's the delivery. It can be like a relatively simple story, but as long as it's really well told in an interesting style, we're all about it. DMR from Kieran Squires, TBH Comics.
Of course.
Dirge Manudi Requiem. He did tell me to practice that second word, and I didn't practice it enough. Every ending deserves
I'm sure he's
going to
let
stop hearing about that tomorrow.
So it's not launched yet. It's launching soon. It's got the URL where you can sign
I've signed up. Yeah.
Ready for launch. Excellent. I've seen quite a lot of that, and it is looking very good indeed. I also get sent through a care package from the lovely chaps at Green Arch Comics, and they sent me through the trade of the Press Guardian after backing some of the comics. And one of the issues, the things that put in with it was the foil cover for issue 4, done by our friend Sarah Webb, which is just absolutely lovely. It's like kind of got an Art Nouveau kind of feel to it, and
She's so good at that,
man. A finish on it, and I can't remember the name of the finish. It's kind of like got a sheen to it. It's not spot UV, but there's a kind of a metallic effect on it.
Oh, nice.
It's just a metal effect. So, lovely stuff. I just got a lot of time for the cover artist and the trade. It's
my laser pointer is working now. Got it all set up.
Nice.
Oh, that laser pointer.
Yeah, the laser. And yeah, so. That's me. Tell a lie. One more thing. Lawless. Yes. 9th and 10th of May 2026. Doubletree by Hilton Hotel, Bristol, BS1 6NJ. That's going to be hitting us very soon. So do go check that out.
If anyone knows Sue, give her a poke, because I gave her, because I'm off Facebook, which is where she normally gets hold of me to do an interview. We normally do like a 10-minute promo for her, don't we? I dropped her an email, but I'm not sure she's got it. So if you do know,
I'll reach out for Facebook now, because I'm
good shout, man. It's been like
the Facebook guy, aren't I?
I think 4 or 5 years we've had her on in a row. So cool.
Yeah, nice. Lots of good stuff there. And speaking of good stuff, wow, we're absolutely flying on this week's episode. We've got some comics to recommend to you, lovely people. We got a couple. So, Tony, do you want to go first?
Speaking of which, I only got one this week. It's just been a busy week, and I became so enamoured with this one that I needed the time and the air to breathe on it. It's going to be something. Not going to spoil the title yet, but it's going to be something that we'll have the creators on soon. And you are either received one or I got one on the way to you, so I loved it so much I sent it to you guys. In Waves was one of those books. I think when you chart back the history of our podcast, it's one of those big books for us. You know, it's the it was a real emotional, creative, of interest to us spike in the 10.5 whatever it is years, almost 11 years that we've been doing this in. And it was by my buddy AJ Dungo, who I first met through No Brown when I was working there. He In Waves is, for those that haven't read it, and you should read it because it's about to get re-released and there's a movie coming any minute now. A bit of a story about that, I'll tell you if you ever have a beer. But it tells a story of an emotional center of a relationship, perhaps tragic, alongside the history of surfing, which AJ's massively in love with. Yeah. I actually met him in Huntington Beach, and he showed me where he went surfing, and I wouldn't want to walk into the sea there, never mind surf into it, But we also did a little tour, me and him, and Sam did a little tour of Angoulême. I hung out with him in London. He's the nicest dude, and he's got a new book out, published unsurprisingly by Flying Eye, which is the No-Bro imprint, Skating Wilder. It's written by a childhood friend of AJ's, a guy called Brandon Dumay, and it's got art by AJ Dungo. And it's $16.99. It's actually only about 14 quid if you buy it on Amazon. Don't buy things on Amazon. Actually, really good value even at $16.99. It's a lovely, lovely book. The cover, I'm absolutely in love with this cover. We were talking about it earlier, weren't we? With the spot varnish on it.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of, to me, is the Venn diagram of graffiti, skateboarding, and comic book design. For that, there's a little bit of everything on there for me. I love the tinted page ends, the sort of reddish orange tinted page ends as well. So this does, in a way, what I talked about there about In Waves, in a way, in perhaps a less emotionally charged way, this covers a friendship between AJ and Brandon and other people about skateboarding alongside the history of skateboarding. Is the way it does it. But tonally, it's very different. It mixes styles, the way stories are told, visually, and it changes narrative in a different way. And it's like lots of different styles crammed into a book that gives it that sort of punk aesthetic, which is at the heart where they're in this story are saying skateboarding really should be. There's a commentary in the book a little bit, if you read between the lines a bit, about how skateboarding, and I kind of compare it a little bit to comics in this, that skateboarding has been corrupted by commercialism. In the same way that, at the core, we like comics, we like the creation of comics, we like reading comics, but it's comics has kind of been taken over by movies and Funkos and fucking TV and lunchboxes and stuff. And that, I feel like a little bit of that has happened with video games and, street fashion, whatever the fuck they call it, big money street fashion.
Skateboarding is one of those things though. I remember when I was reading Grommets,
it's kind of cool in comics at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. But that harkens to another, that sort of like the kids on the street, that's just doing it like away from everything else. Before it was cool, it was just, it's a culture, it's a proper culture, isn't it?
Really is. It really is. And Brandon's bedroom, who's the writer of this, he tells the story about, he goes back to his parents, and his parents are moving from home, I guess from Huntington Beach, the same place as AJ. And they're saying, look, everything's been cleared out, but you've taken ages, so all that's left to be cleared out is your bedroom. And he opens the door to his old schoolboy bedroom, and it's like he's time travelled back to a museum about skateboarding, and everything in there is cassette tapes and boards and videotapes and all this magazines. And he rings AJ and says, can you come and give me a hand clearing up my bedroom and putting it in the van? So he goes down there, and from there we kind of jump into the history. And I didn't realise that the first sale of a skateboard was like 1959. So it's not. It can be charted back. I mean, I'm not really a skateboard. I tried it in the 70s. You could probably measure in hours the amount of times I've spent on a skateboard, and it was the old, knobble wheeled, bit difficult, shaped like a shark's fin kind of skateboard back then, which that they've sort of evolved, haven't they?
I used to tell a story that I could ollie over a car bonnet on a skateboard, and no one really asked me to prove it because I couldn't do it.
So it was just a lie down. Is that what it was?
Is
this your confession?
You nailed it in one.
Confession. After all of these years, the truth finally sees the light day.
I think I might have said it before, but like now, I don't want to hear it as a bombshell. Like Dan can't ollie over a car bonnet, like you previously said.
Well, that would be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'll try and remember to put that in the Substack. As
Yeah,
the
Dan
subhead.
Count Ollie.
When the fan guard hear about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fucking mad.
So artistically in this, AJ pulls so. Well, I'm guessing in company with Brandon, AJ really pulls out some interesting stylistic ways of telling a story and talking about the history. I pulled out a few, but it is absolutely full of it. These sort of inventive ways he uses. So there's one bit where he talks about cool skateboarding magazines. And I think they're quite collectible now. I guess they're quite, they're sort of eBay. If you looked on eBay, they'd be expensive. And there was a lot that came out about the time and about the cool scene and stuff. So what he does, he's over a page, he's laid out magazines on the floor where the spines arch up as if it's a half pipe, and he's got kids skateboarding over the top of these magazines as a sort of narrative style of talking about these skateboarding magazines. There's another bit he talks about the rise in popularity of the skateboards, and what he's done is he's just piled up different kinds of televisions, the old big back televisions, and little sort of remote televisions, and this sort of thing in a big pile, and on each of the screens is something about the hobby, and it's just really inventive. Constantly through this, you're seeing these really inventive ways of telling a story, and it's so hand in hand with the writing. I guess they must have properly collabed day to day on this, because it really jumps. There's a real energy and emotion to it. It really jumps about, in the way that it should be, because it's describing this style of thing, and the real love for the hobby comes out, and it's not short of both insight but also criticism of the way the hobby's been treated sometimes. There's because it's kind of to me it's almost like become the definitive book on skateboarding in a way, from a comic book point of view. There's Gromit's is more of a story, isn't it? But this is more of a history which is bracketed by these two friends' life, and there's a Fumetti story in this. There's a photo story. And I've got a theory. I can't quite tell. I think AJ's definitely in this. His little face in this made me laugh with him when he was a kid, with a skateboard on his back, sort of thing. It does show there is criticism of it, especially they talk about the Tony Hawk video game, and they talk about other people taking things. But what you really feel is this love of. There's lots of sections in this where kids are building their own ramps, and they're building them off the top of houses and all sorts. They really used to take chances on it. If anyone's ever looked at DJ's Instagram, it's just him skateboarding over the top of things pretty much constantly for whole periods of his life. It did make me laugh. There's a bit where there's a change in the law in relation to hurting yourself and who takes responsibility for it, something like that in American law. But what it's got is it's got a gavel coming down and skateboarding off the side of books on the judge's table are these little skateboarding characters and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really good. What else did I have to say about it? There's a 15 panel grid on one page. So he goes from one, single images on a page. There's one great image which shows kind of where it started. And let's not forget, one of the big things that pushed skateboarding was Back to the Future. Do you remember? Because he's skateboarding throughout that, hoverboards and all sorts of things. And there's a movie called Thrashing, which I'm sort of vaguely aware of, which is about California skateboarding. And Dogtown was another one.
Lords of Dogtown is
it's a massive thing, isn't it? As part of their history. And 15 panel grid, man's crazy. But yeah, so I'll be interested to see what AJ does next. I'll be interested if the pair of them do something next. It's nice. There's a real collab going on. It's not. We just talked to Jesse, didn't we, about some writers are just very prescriptive and tell you what to draw and stuff like that. Yeah. But there's a real joining of thoughts on this. I'd like to see. But for me, like I said earlier, for someone who ain't got a fucking Scooby Doo about skateboarding, I absolutely love this. Really interesting art as well. It's just but one of the things he really strikes me is it uses the same sort of color schemes as it did in Waves, where it's sort of sometimes sort of shaded single pages, browns and whites, greens and whites, stuff like that. Very similar sort of style, which is lovely to the eye. If you go to flyingeyebooks.com, you can get it there. You can get it on Amazon. Instagram, AGE Dungs, DUNGS. That's AJ Dungo's Instagram. If you go to Instagram, Flying Eye Books, you can also go and read about it there. But yeah, good stuff. So glad, so pleased to see Another fucking great book from my buddy. Yeah,
mate. When they do one and then follow it up with another banger,
bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's an evolution in his style. You can see.
Yeah.
He's also aiming it towards what he needs to do, which is what an artist of his style does. There you go. Skating Wilder. There you go.
Nice. Look forward to checking that out. I'll jump in next with a new release from Image Comics. This is from created by Patrick Kindlon and EPHK.
Well, that's what we think his name is, don't we?
Yeah.
We've had this before when we was talking about
Harpy, which was talked about. That's a Live in the Line book, which is there's an ad for it at the back of this comic. Which was,
is it?
Yeah,
it's fucking great book. A lot of work.
Is it on Global Comics?
The book I'm talking about is not.
Right.
Well, not yet, but I got it from Comixology.
Sorry, who published it again, mate?
This is Image Comics. This is Tigress Island.
Yeah.
And it is literally Patrick Kindlon, who worked on a book called Gehenna. Now, looking at that, that's another similar kind of style of book. I'm
aware of it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah. Looks like something. After this, I think I'm going to read it, though. But what is Tigress Island? Well, a group of down-on-their-luck actresses are kidnapped to an island prison run by a sadistic female warden. Working together is their only chance of escape, but trust issues abound. As it says here, it's an action-adventure inspired by exploitation films, and it's ridiculously fun and seriously sexy. It is yeah, indeed. It is proper good fun. This is. I mean, I was immediately when I saw Epic's name, I was drawn in by. If you go to his website, which is EPHKOA.bigcartel.com, sells loads of originals and stuff on there, as well as like commissions and stuff. Very much an artist with a style that's, I think, both very comic booky and influenced by. I mean, we were talking about skate culture and things like that. There's a certain street style to their artwork. Certainly draws attractive women. But he has a definite style about it. Like all of the characters in this book have like sort of white circles for eyes. Seen that? There's no sort of It's such a nice little it's a real artistic sort of signature, isn't it? Everything else is crafted wonderfully, and it's a beautiful looking book. They've done the colours as well. It starts off in Shanghai with all these strangers meeting in this bar, and they've all come from different kind of backgrounds. You see little flashbacks to, one of them maybe worked in the adult industry. One of them seemed to be some sort of Foxy Brown like figure in it, in the past.
Sounds exactly like every movie I watch.
Yep. One of them was a gymnast. One of them was a mascot on Japanese TV. These women that have come from different parts of the world. And they're together, and then the night sort of takes a turn, and they wake up in the dark. They sort of like, what's going on? They're still in the same place, like they're still sat on the same chairs, but the room's completely dark, and they have to flick on a switch. Light a lighter, and they figure out they're in like a sort of like one of those crates, one of those big metallic shipping crates.
Yeah.
So it makes it so clearly the room that they were in was a complete facade, and they've all been brought to this island. And as soon as they step out, they're being dropped onto an island by this helicopter. And then they're met by Serena, who is responsible for their safety and discipline. And if you've watched any kind of exploitation film, or should we say like a Faster Pussycat Kill, that kind of thing, you can imagine the kind of figure that this is. There's all of these guards, they're well-armed guards, and the women are like, what on earth are we doing here? And one of them tries to get away and kick, and like says, perhaps we can try and soften up the men. But the guard tells them that, the woman tells them that the warden, as it were, all of the men on the island are eunuchs. She demonstrates this by kicking one of them quite hard between the legs, and he's just stood there like a statue. Which I don't know how that would work in real life, because I think if you kick someone, you're still kicking them no matter what they've got underneath their carriage.
I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah, But then they're escorted to this this sort of part of the island where you think it's going to be like a prison, sort of slave labour type thing, and it almost looks like a James Bond like villain's lair. And there's loads of women there just sort of chilling out at these bars, and there's a mystery that I didn't expect. So I'm really excited to see where this story's going. All the characters have their individual voices. I'm sure it's going to be one of those. They'll get picked off one by one, or perhaps something's going to happen. They're going to have to escape.
Are you going to make a bet who's the final girl? You think there's going to be one?
It kind of sets that up at the moment. It feels like the Foxy Brown-like character is clearly the ass kicker.
Yeah.
And the way that the issue ends certainly ends with a moment between her and another one of the actresses who she thinks might be a double crosser already. But it moves at one hell of a pace. It was because I was going back to look at the artwork as well, because there's like lush sort of tropic, just seeing, because he does the colours as well, just seeing like this jungle sort of landscape, a jungle exploitation prison adventure. I'm excited to see where this one goes. It is very much wears its inspirations, the exploitation films, on its sleeve, without resorting to a grimy grindhouse kind of thing. You remember, like about 5-10 years ago?
Yeah,
that's kind of where everyone was going, when it making it look like it's degraded, or like it's dirty, or this isn't that. It's clearly they know the story that they want to tell. They're telling it. It's fun. It's funny. It's not gratuitously over the top, but it's riding that nice line of fun at the moment. So if you see it on your travels, Tigress Island, well worth your time, I think, from Image Comics. And yeah, I think I'm going to go to check out Gehenna as well, because that seems to be more of a
I hear good things.
That sounds like a cup of tea.
Yeah. So and that's from That's from Patrick Kindlon, who I hadn't heard of before this one. So I went on board for the artist and discovered another creator. I love that as well. When you jump on for one thing and discover another artist, and then it's like a domino effect, isn't it? It's like, okay, let's check out this, let's check out this, let's check out
when
this.
they're kind of like paired up with someone that they obviously respect.
Yeah.
Because they've got attributes you admire. When they go pair up with someone else, you go, oh, you've got attributes I respect as well.
Yeah, and it was interesting seeing this because, Harpy, it's a different style of story. Do you know what I mean? It's not this. So it was. I was like, wow, I was really, really pleased with this.
With Epic, he wrote and drew.
Yeah,
Harpy. So God knows how long that took, because that book is ridiculously detailed.
Yeah, and gorgeous. And if you go to his website, like all of his, he doesn't skimp on pages. And he does some interesting thing with layouts as well. We were talking about layouts earlier. Everything seems to fit together nicely. It's really good. So
nudity, so great.
Yeah, well there isn't yet.
There's in these other stuff. There's nudity. Maybe you got to be careful in the Image Comics.
Yeah, I think there's hints at it, and it's certainly riding that. I think there's going to be some saucy moments probably turn up, but we'll see. Dan, what have you got?
This was sent in to us via Instagram, I believe. Shokwave, an anthology title. This is book 7. I'd kind of missed this, so shame on me. It's a 48-page book, black and white and colour stories. I believe there's 4 stories in this one. We've got, read them out right now. We've got Anarchy, Nosferatu 2, Resistors, and The Clock Strikes. The Anarchy character is kind of she's kind of a fish out of water rogue who's kind of playing the good guy on a space station, like in the far future, and she's got like various subordinates around her, and she gets up to kind of like hijinks. That's a really colourful kind of like action fun comedy story from Chris Arscombe. Nosferatu 2, the art on this is absolutely fucking fantastic. Art by David Hitchcock. His style really appeals to me.
David Hitchcock, fucking one of the legends for me for like the UK.
Has he been on? Have we had him on?
So no, we haven't had Hitchcock on. I've been fan of his for years. Ever since the
Yeah,
old,
God.
the old
Shane,
Bristol,
wasn't he?
yeah, the old Bristol sort of Comic Cons and stuff like that. You know, I saw some of his
Spring
stuff.
Hill Jack. That was
Spring
one of his
Hill
early
Jack,
ones,
yeah. I love that. I
It's
love that he's still
absolutely-
going, still kicking ass. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely fucking work in this. We got followed up by Resistors, and finally the Clock Strikes, which obviously I'm relatively familiar with the Clock because I did a version for him for the Green Archer guys.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
I
of
think
course,
it's a
yeah.
character that's fallen into public domain, and here he's drawn in his own adventure, which is very different to the one presented by the Green Archer guys. And I know they're quite happy to. They love seeing different versions of the characters because they love the Clock and Press Guardian and Green Archer. So that's really interesting. So it's an anthology series. I think it's coming out every few months, and you sort of back it, and you can get like the previous issues. I'm going to be remiss if I don't tell you who made the series. John A. Short, which
Oh, yeah.
you can kind of. He's the writer on all the titles.
He's the one who sent them through.
Excellent. Cheers, John. If you want to find out more about this, you can contact. Well, I'll give you the website rather than these contact details. Shockwave Comic, which is shok.blogspot.com, and you can go check it out there. Yeah, like all anthologies, some of them are going to be hits for you, some of them are going to be misses, but this a great quality throughout.
Yeah, amazing, and great quality throughout could have been the name of this episode. It could have been
Hell
the name
yeah.
of any episode because
Don't
we
know
enjoy.
about
We but we certainly enjoy talking about comics on a weekly basis, and we hope you have enjoyed this week's episode. If there's anything you want us to talk about in future episodes, or perhaps you got a comic that you want us to check out, or perhaps you got a comic book store that you want us to shout out, or a comic event, anything at all, please do get in touch with us. There's several different ways you can do that. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at awesomecomicspod on Instagram, at the awesomepod on X. Thank you to anyone who follows us or gets in touch via there. We really appreciate it. And perhaps you listen to us on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, just leave a 5-star, please. Helps get the word out about the show. We're only a little show. We're just keeping the engine running for a small press and indie comics. So get the word out and share it. Algorithms and all that. I don't know how it all
The
works.
share
but-
a retweet goes a million miles.
Yeah, algorithms
Doesn't
apparently.
literally, but
Algorithms ruin everything now, don't they? So we need, shout about us to everyone. And your nan. And we're also on like Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What are the networks we on, Tony?
We're on the Pod Network. I had a surprise Bukkake party at the weekend. Everyone came.
We were... Dan, don't encourage him. We were so close. So close to almost...
They were.
that close.
To almost...
Hey.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Hey. We were almost sensible then. No, we weren't. Nonsense. I was talking about
We kept
dying
it
in a
menu
comic
track
book
this
shop.
week.
Yeah, no, it's good. It was.
Yeah.
I know it was just nothing but great comic book talk. And if you want to support us, you can also buy some of our merch at acpgear.redbubble.com and join our Slack community.
Buy a mug. Buy
yeah.
a mug.
Buy a mug. Buy a mug, right? And when you're making a comic and you're filling it with tea, coffee, whatever beverage of choice, there are many other things available. Take a picture, post it on Instagram, tag us, let us know.
Tequila.
Rep the show. Yeah, just an entire mug of tequila. I mean, that might lead to longer form conversations about how we can help you in other ways of your life. But either way, support the show. Yeah, join the Slack community. Great group of people on there. And we also sign up for the Substack. Search for Awesome Comics Podcast on Substack. Sign up for there where you can get the
Nice bit of interaction on there, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice numbers,
Yeah.
nice interaction.
Yeah.
It's a good little place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you listen to us through there and nowhere else, thank you very much for discovering the show and stick with us because there's loads more to come. Speaking of sticking with us, where can people find us online, etc.? Tony.
Neveronything.com or on Substack, Tony Ez, EZ. It's something out usually Tuesdays or Wednesdays for me.
Nice. Dan.
You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com.
I'm trying to put him off.
No. Look at him. Drop the mic,
back.
eh? He's back. He's back. He never went away. That's the secret. You can find me on social media at Just the Diablo. Thanks again to Jesse for joining us this week. Thank you all for listening. Wherever you are in the world, it's a crazy world at the moment. So we hope you're enjoying the comics you're making, the comics you're reading, and we hope you're okay out there. So yeah, because we all love you very much. Tony's shrugging, but that's just Tony Esmond. He's just got so much love to give, he doesn't know what to do with it. He usually keeps it in jars.
You should just ruin my basket, that love, I tell you now.
Oh yeah, it's true. That's why
he went to that party, didn't he?
That's why he's got vinyl all over his house now. Vinyl flooring.
It's clean.
It's the way forward. Anyway, let's wipe this clean. Have a brilliant week from everyone here.
It's like the end of the Ghostbusters.
Oh, Dan, what do you mean? What do you mean, Dan? Explain it.
With
he didn't stay puff, did he?
Man.
He didn't stay puff. Oh, that's disgraceful. How
That's
dare
disgusting.
you?
Awful.
Awful.
It's like the goo in the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pink. Perhaps you should see a doctor if it's like that. Anyway, have a great week. And what else should they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.